How to fuel and hydrate for long mountain bike rides with Emma Marinen, professional endurance mountain bike rider.
Hey, I am getting ready to go do a long 4-hour training ride, and I get asked an awful lot what I do to fuel myself on long rides when I'm self-supported on the mountain bike. So obviously there's no opportunities for refueling. To start off, I plan, unless the temperatures are going to be really extreme for what I'm used to, I plan about 200 to 250 calories an hour because this is an endurance ride. And I'm not going to be doing a whole lot of climbing where I'm going. I'm going to run closer to about 200 calories an hour. But if it was going to be more climbing, more technical, I knew I was going to burn a little bit more, I'd plan a little bit more calories, closer to that 250. And even when I'm doing shorter rides that have more intensity, I'll air towards about 250 calories. Just kind of a lot of trial and error. That's what I figured out works best for me. I also plan about half a liter of water an hour. I've again found that works really well for me, but again, if it's going to be hotter or more humid than what I'm already acclimated to, or if I'm going to be riding at more elevation than I normally do, then I'm going to increase that. Also, when I plan, because I have a tendency to get excited and go a little longer than my training ride was supposed to, check out a new trail, something like that, I always bring an extra hour's worth of water and snacks just to make sure that I don't end up having a really rough, long ride. So here's what it looks like. Okay, so I love Goop products. They work really well for me, but I'm not afraid to mix things up. But right now, I'm just going to show you what I do with my Goop products. So first thing I always make sure is I figure out my hydration strategy. I really like plain water, and so I bring a backpack. Well, I really love this little Osprey hydration vest. It holds 1.5 liters of water, so that's 3 hours of water for me. Actually, it ends up being 3.5 because I can overfill this bladder a little bit. Don't tell Osprey. So I'll fill this full of plain water. I'm even going to add a little bit of salt to it, just like a pinch, just so I have a little bit extra electrolytes in there. So, hydration pack. I'm going to want to top it off with water, and for me, I always add a little bit of salt to my water just so I have a little bit more extra electrolytes in there. I like using a mineral salt. It's really the sodium that's important in salt, but this way I get a few other good minerals, and I find it's not quite so salty tasting. So just a pinch, not much. Then fill up my bladder. So again, this one's a little over 1.5 liters because I definitely fill it up to the very brim. It has a max fill line that's a little bit more than 1.5 liters, and you can actually go further than that. Especially if you're not afraid to maybe dribble a little bit of water on your back, though I've never actually had that happen. So, hydration pack ready to go. But super important are electrolytes. And so then I always take my water bottle, and I'm going to fill this with the super concentrated version of my electrolyte drink mix. So enough electrolytes in here to get me through my 4-hour ride. And so obviously that's way more concentrated than what you really want to drink. So when I do take a sip of this, I'm going to dilute it by taking like 1 sip from the bottle, 3 sips from my hydration pack. I'm really stoked these days on a strawberry hibiscus flavored endurance Roctane. So I'm gonna throw that in there. Also keeping track that this is part of the calories that I'm gonna be consuming for the day. So I'm adding that into my mental total. So then I'll just take that, actually that's not quite as many as I need. I need 4 scoops, not 2 scoops today. Okay, so again, this is gonna be super concentrated, but it works really well for me. You can also, if you wanna reverse this system, have electrolytes in your hydration pack and then just pure water in here. If I have an opportunity to like go by some sort of gas station or something, that's probably more likely what I'll do, because I know I'll be able to refill my water bottle with another round of pure water. So just options, what you can do. Okay, so as mountain bikers, when I do endurance rides, I'm training. I don't really want to take time to stop. So I'm going to be eating the whole time, and I start my eating for my rides literally within 15 minutes of being on my ride. I just don't ever want to get behind on my calories, and honestly, if I'm going to overload my calories at one end of my ride or the other, I'm going to put them heavy at the beginning. So I'm cool eating more calories early per hour in my ride as opposed to later. So I want to be able to access them really easily. And I find dealing with wrappers and stuff doesn't work really well for me. I want to be able to snack the whole time I ride. So I'm going to calculate out my calories and grab all the things I need. So I'm a big fan of stroopwafels. Again, for endurance rides, I'm able to eat a bigger variety of food, a little bit of protein, hard time with my wrapper today, a little bit of protein, a little bit of fat is totally fine for me in endurance pace. When I'm doing my high intensity rides, I run a lot more on simple sugars, so gels and blocks really end up being what I run. So anyways, this stroopwafel is 150 calories. So what I do is I cut all of my food into 20 to 25 calorie bites. So that means 6 wedges of my stroopwafel. So I'm gonna cut that puppy up. I'll do the same with a second stroopwafel, and then I'm going to take some blocks, because I do know as I get further in my ride, I might need a little bit more quick energy, and I pull these puppies out of their packaging as well, and just kind of push them out. So I've got all of my little guys. I like them free. So these are 20 calorie bites. So I've got 20 calorie bites. I know 5 of them is 100 calories. I know that 4 bites of my waffle is another 100 calories. So I'm kind of picking through what I need. So between what I've got in my bottle and 2 waffles and 1 pack of blocks, that puts me at 710 calories. So I need another 100. I like to bring kind of the last hour power push on my long rides. These are the liquid energy. This is the brand new cola flavor. It is delicious. I haven't had soda in like eons, and getting to have this is freaking amazing. Makes me feel like a kid celebrating. But why I also really like this in the last hour is because it's liquid, so it absorbs really quick in my system, but it's got some caffeine. And caffeine is kind of magic at the end of those endurance rides. So I've got my fuel all figured out. This puts me at 800 calories, but I want to make sure that I've got enough calories for an extra hour-ish in case things go sideways on me. And so in my hydration pack, I always have an emergency stroopwafel, and I'll actually pack in a few extra blocks to make that so I've got an extra 200 calories with me. So that's my food strategy and my nutrition strategy. Why I cut these into little bites, they're just all in my back pocket, super easy to grab.
See how easy this is to grab my snacks. What I do is reach back, and I've got my little bite. I know it's 25 calories, so I know I need to have 8 bites in an hour to put me at that magic 200.
Another reason why I like having the hydration vest is because it sits higher on my back, so it's really easy for me to access those back pockets to grab my snacks. I'm going to be driving to the trailhead today, so all of my snacks go in my little reusable container to load up in my pockets for when I get to the trailhead. So I've got all my stuff packed up, ready to go.
So trail side, got my bag of snacks, loading up the pockets. So I make sure I've got the same number of calories in each pocket. And one of my tricks, again, for this endurance ride is that things that are more sugar-based, like my gels and things, I like to have at the bottom of my pockets because I'm more likely going to want them later. So again, I've calculated out 4 hours, so I really want half of my nutrition in one pocket and the other half in the other, so that I know at 2 hours my first pocket better be empty. It's kind of part of my system. So I've got 4 blocks in my first pocket. Will be 5 in my second, if I can get it out of my bag. So going on the left side, and then I'll take all my little Stroop waffle wedges and put them in. So there's 4. And 4. And then 3. And 3. So I'm all packed up with my snacks to go. And then I've got my gel to put in my backpack. So backpack going on. Make sure my nozzle's open so I can get water. And then Magic Liquid Energy Cola, told you how amazing this is, goes in my easy reach pocket for emergencies when I need it. And then I also have my backup Stroop waffle in my other front pocket, so I'm gonna go ride.
Well, the final thing that I want to make sure when I'm going on a long ride is that I've got access to a recovery drink pretty quickly. There's a lot of different research out there that shows that that window of really maximizing your absorption of protein is anywhere from as little as 20 minutes post-activity to as long as an hour. I don't know what's right, so I'm just gonna do my best to err on that 20-minute zone, but if things happen, whatnot, you know, it's not like I'm not gonna have my recovery drink if I'm pushing the hour line. Even if I go slightly over, I'm still gonna have my recovery drink. Another reason I always pack it with me, even though my trailhead is like a 10-minute drive from me where I'm going today, is because oftentimes I'll run into friends at the trailhead at the end and end up hanging out, chit-chatting with folks, whatever, maybe having a recovery beverage, aka beer, with my friends, but I'm always gonna wanna make sure I've got that protein recovery drink with me as well. So I'm, again, a big fan of the GOO protein recovery. I like to make sure I get anywhere from 20 to 30 grams of protein in that drink. So yeah, I like to mix myself up a fancy smoothie. So let me kind of show you with that. So I've got my lovely blender here. Little doodad. I'm gonna go and put some fruit in here, some frozen fruit, a few little ice cubes, and then I'm gonna use milk. My body does really well with whey, so milk gives me a little extra protein, which will take the 20 grams of protein from my mix and bump it closer to 30 grams of protein. So I've got some mixed berries, I've got some ice cubes. I'm going to mix in my protein, 1 scoop, 2 scoops. That puts me at the magic number of protein. I'm going to go add my milk. All right, so milk in my smoothie. Again, you can use any other plant milk. You can also use water. Again, I just like the creaminess. Okay, and then right down, hold your ears. Okay, and then the real trick trick, because you're probably going, aren't you gonna have this left in your car for a few hours? Yes, yes I am, but dun, 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 hydro flask. These things are amazing, vacuum sealed. I can put like my stuff in here and leave it in a car that'll get to like 100 degrees for a few hours, and the ice is hardly even melted that's in here. So, because I like to make my smoothies extra thick, I generally require a spoon. So I've got a super yummy vanilla berry smoothie. It's extra delicious, so I'm going to be excited to drink it after my ride. Always have to sample. Delicious. And pack that up. Sits in my car, ready to go. Okay, so I'm packing up to go riding now. One more thing that's part of my nutrition strategy for long rides is I make sure I eat about 100 to 200 calories before I go ride. So kind of when I'm like packing up and everything, especially if I haven't had a meal in like the last 2 hours. I just want to make sure that my calories are topped off before I even get to my ride. So these are delicious homemade carrot cake muffins that I made. So, yay, let's go ride that. So, that is just a really quick look at what I do to self-support on a longer ride. Hopefully it gives you a starting place to kind of figure out your own system. Thanks.
Let's review. I aim for 200 to 250 calories per hour for long endurance rides. I drink a half liter of water per hour in normal conditions. I increase calories in water for harder rides or extreme weather. Make sure you have electrolytes, not just water. This is just a starting place. Adjust until you have success. Now you can tackle that big mountain bike ride knowing you won't bonk.